Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Wager Show. I'm your boy, Daniel Greer, and we have Mark and Robbie here. Don't worry about that. They're not leaving me hanging just yet, but we had a decent week last week, but we'll get into that here shortly. But honestly, we have a fun show today. We have a brand new segment, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But we're going to lead you off with the picks. We're going to get through all of that, and then we're going to go into a little bit of kind of our weekend vibes and kind of get a little bit off our chest what we're liking or not liking heading into the weekend. And then it's going to be the Slap Shot Saloon. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that as we get through this. But if you're just joining us for the first time, you're a crew member for the first time, well, welcome. It's a Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern. This is the Weekend Wager Show where we give you our 12-pack of plays. But if you're catching this on the weekend, just Saturday, Sunday, and you're wondering, why in the world did I miss the Slap Shot Saloon? Well, that's because you're not a crew member and you have to sign up to be. Everybody's already filing in. It's a Friday. We like it. So let's go ahead and look back at last week before we get the guys in here. And it's everybody went 2 for 2. Can't say we lost money, right? But we didn't necessarily win you money. A little break even day, but the guys are already here. So let's get to them. Mark, what's up, man? Good afternoon.
Oh, DG, Robbie, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, kick off the weekend right. We didn't have a great weekend last weekend. 50-50 is, but we got something good in tap for this one.
100%. Robbie, how are you? How's your Friday?
My Friday's been busy, very busy, but I'm just happy to be here. 2-2 last week. Not what I enjoy. At least I can't just blame one player for that point parlay loss. They both suck, so they're both in the doghouse.
I feel you. Real quick, a little inside joke. So I know I'm always late to the show when I'm not on it. I understand that. Well, last week I was late to the show. It wasn't because I wasn't already doing my bit. It's because I forgot to hit the live button. We didn't tell you that. The guys helped me out and covered me up. But yeah, last week I was a few minutes late, but I wasn't really late. I was recording right at the perfect time. I just never hit the live button. So Dan, always here. Look, everybody's here. And Brian, looks like all the Bryans, all the Zach, Chicago Pat. Welcome to everybody. But let's go ahead and get to our plays. We're going to have Mark lead us off.
Perfect. I'm actually going to start on the hard court tonight. Look, Philadelphia has played 22 games in this short season already. No load Embiid has only played in 5 of them, but he's still averaging over 31 minutes a game. In those 31 minutes, he has taken 23 three-point attempts, and that's why I'm playing his under 1.5 three-pointers made at minus 125. It's really simple. He's taken 23 attempts in the 5 games he's played in. He's only made a total of 3. 1 each game. He's never gone over 1. I just love this spot. His legs, he's saving it. I get that. But also, he loses that rhythm, loses that timing. And DG, as a MVP in your church league, you know what it's like, that consistency, the continuous, the timing, the feel of your jump shot. You just can't fake it as a center, out there behind the arc.
No, you definitely can't fake it. And I know how that feels. I feel the rust right now. But recently, a little Memphis news. We were just challenged with our media group. We were just challenged by another media group, a little basketball showdown. They're calling us out saying that we're not real hoopers. And I've seen them. I know what they look like in real life. They're not ready for this. But you're not ready for tonight. It's the Grizzlies revenge game. I know that doesn't make sense to everybody else, but I'm going to go homer on this. The Grizzlies, the first half team total over 61.5 at minus 110. The Grizzlies are the best scoring team in the first half in the National Basketball Association. But why against the Brooklyn Nets would they care? They've lost both games this season to the Brooklyn Nets. It's the only team they have not beat, or they've gotten beat by twice this season. And so Brooklyn Nets, they got another thing coming. And the Grizzlies, they shut the entire team down this week for 2 full days. They locked the doors and nobody was allowed to come to to the facilities, which means they got actual rest. And so they've had a little bit of a layoff. They should be well rested. And so I hope they come out very eager on a Friday night. But all right, enough about my Memphis bias. Enough about me playing. Rob, what you got here?
Yeah, going to the ice. There's only one game in hockey tonight, and it's not even really a good game. But we're going with Mr. Consistent, Martin H's. I know minus 140 is a little juicy, but the juice is definitely worth the squeeze. He has hit this in 16 of his last 20 games and 4 out of his last 5 versus Ottawa. Carolina has actually won the last 2 games against Ottawa pretty convincingly, 4-0 on the 16th of November and 7-2 last March. And if you want to go back even further to last, I think December, almost the same date, they won 4-1 there. So I think Carolina puts up goals. Ottawa can put up goals, but they just seem to struggle against Carolina.
All right. So how do you say his name real quick?
Natchez, like the nature boy, Ric Flair, Martin Natchez.
All right. Little nature boy.
Woo!
I like that one. And who does he play for one more time? Oh, it's the only game tonight.
Yeah, Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay. All right. And so we got a little bit of the slap shot saloon coming to that. He'll probably pass it to my guy, a little bit of a teaser, a little Natchez to Seth, if you know what I mean. All right. That's enough of Friday night, but Robbie does not have a play for Saturday, but I do. So let me go to my Army team total touchdowns. I'm going over 2.5. All I need is Army to get 3 touchdowns. It's at plus 100. I expect Army to roll against Navy. Navy has not looked good at all in the last 3 to 4 weeks. And I expect Army with their line, mainly their offensive line, because they're going to push around on that Navy D line. But either way, I think they're going to get the ball back enough. And honestly, I don't care if it's a special teams touchdown. I don't care how it happens. All I need is 3 touchdowns. I don't need the extra point. I don't care. Just give me the 3 touchdowns. And the other Saturday, what you got on that? Go ahead, Robbie.
Does it scare you at all that everybody's on the over like they were last night? Does any of that? I mean, I see everybody on the over. I can't do it.
For sure.
I just too many people's on.
Yeah, so the over does scare me because that means that Navy has to score. That's why I've only paired with Army. I think Army beats them pretty bad in this game. I don't think Navy scores much because Army's lines are both honestly legit D1 level lines. I just don't think Navy is anymore. Their quarterback's kind of gotten hurt, banged up a little bit. I don't think he's running like he used to. And so my opinion, let's say the game's 24-7. That doesn't go over, right?
No.
So that's why I want to kind of hang on just one team, the team I believe in, and be an Army. And so I think that's more in line with how I feel, because even if it's, what if it's 24-10, that still doesn't go over, right? Because it's 38.
Right.
Yeah.
38, 39.5, 38 some places. Yeah.
The weather should be good there, which is kind of what I looked at as well in Landover, Maryland, where they're playing. So the weather looking good there. I think they'll be all right.
Can I just say this real quick?
No.
Navy hasn't looked good since they played Notre Dame. Notre Dame beat them and just sent their entire season into a free fall. Unfortunately for the midshipmen, as an Army veteran, they're running into the Black Knights this weekend. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. There's not a single rivalry that's more intense than this one, because it extends beyond just the field.
Right.
Yeah, I know, DG, you're not into this game, but my dad and my uncle both serve, so we're big Army fans tomorrow. It's one of those games where you don't think about it until it gets in, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's on now. I know it's a sludge of a game. Trust me, I know. But it means something when you got people in the Army.
You're picking up your notes for the Army-Navy game that you threw in the garbage?
No,
what is it? Oh,
I kind of do care a little bit. So my grandfather, this is his flag, the one that I think you're supposed to be buried. I don't know how that works. Anyway, I have it. And so it's my grandfather's his flag. He served in the Navy. I love the Navy. I love everything to do with the armed forces just in general, but I could care less about their football games. And so when you say, yeah, I don't care, I do not care about the games because it's always terrible. If I had to choose one, I would choose the Navy because that's what I grew up. I grew up having to support the Navy, going to the naval base, but honestly, their team stinks. And so everything against me, people, sorry, I'm going against you this week. I'm going to have to ride the Navy.
This game's in the 3rd week of September. It doesn't get as much traction. But because it's isolated and it's by itself, that's why the traction is getting so much, because it's the only game in town.
For sure. Absolutely. What Rick is asking, what's the Army team total? It's been around 22.5, 23.5. As Zach's saying right here, I play this as well. And so I've played both sides of it to try to see if I can, in case they do a lot of field goals or something. But I still think if you get to 24 points, you're going to have to somehow score at least 3 touchdowns, unless you can do 3 field goals and 2 touchdowns, maybe. Is that math right? 17, 18, 20? Yeah.
It's
no,
right.
It's still 23. Yeah.
I love this play over, especially Army going over 24. Bryson Daly is a beast.
He's awesome, man.
He's amazing. And the offense runs through them. The Army offensive line is far superior to what Navy's going to put up from a defensive front. I just see Army literally and figuratively running all over them.
I like it. All right. Enough about my game. My pick was so good. It brought all this discussion. So, Mark, hopefully yours is a little bit better.
Well, I'm staying in the college round as well. I'm going Jeremiah Webb over 33.5 receiving yards, and that's at -115. Yes, I know it's a college prop. Yes, I also know that he plays for Southern Alabama, and he's the wide receiver number 2. In that role, he has covered this line in 3 of his last 4 games where he's averaging 48 yards. And the reason I really love this is because Southern Alabama has one of the worst defenses in the country. They're a 6-6 football team, which means that their offense is what really has kept them in games and has won the 6 games for them, but it's all through their passing game. I love this spot. I think Webb clears this line easily, and I actually think West Michigan wins.
Okay, so who is this game against? It's you said Western Michigan and South Alabama?
Western Michigan and South Alabama.
Wow. I have no idea anybody on either team.
It's in the Veterans Bowl. So sticking with your military pick for...
I absolutely believe you. You could lie to me, and I'd still believe you right now at this point, because I have no idea about that. I've stayed far away from that area. All right. Let's we're rolling through this show pretty good, and so let's go ahead and finish it out. And then Robbie, he's saving 3 for Sunday. So Robbie, what you got here?
Actually saving 2 for Sunday.
Oh, okay. You got a Monday. Look at that. I like it. Go ahead and give us your 2 Sundays.
Yeah, so I'm going first. Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown. That's +124, and this is at Caesars. You cannot get this number anywhere else. All the other books are -105, -110. Amon-Ra has only gone 3 games without scoring twice so far. He did it last year, and he's currently on a 3-game streak where he hasn't scored a touchdown. I expect him to get in the end zone and start a new streak Sunday. The other play I have is Tony Pollard over 66.5 rushing yards. That's -121, also at Caesars. Look, we missed on him last week, but it's not his fault. He has a quarterback who puts mayonnaise in his coffee, throwing him the ball. It's not his fault. I don't even blame Tony for not catching balls last week when you got that guy throwing to him. But he's cleared this line in 6 of his last 10. He just put up 102 last week, and he's facing Cincinnati's rush defense. It's ranked 31st in the league, as Soupy said this morning. So I like Tony Pollard to go over because, again, they have a quarterback who don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, you're talking about the mayonnaise and the coffee. My God, that's disgusting.
He eats bananas with the skin on it, too. Like, why would you – that should be red flags on whatever Wonderlic test. How do you like the bananas? I'll eat them with the skin on. Yeah.
That can't be true.
Look it up. Look it up.
I can honestly tell you that, having spent some time in Costa Rica, that not even the monkeys do that. I've seen them.
Wow. All right. There's no other show where you get all of this information and that kind of content.
Do you want to do that work?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do the work. But I don't know if we need to take this is a shot taken at us. But Robert says, I hardly ever make this live show. Now I know why. It is 30 minutes before my something at work is over. What is TOD?
Tour of duty.
Sure. I believe you. So I'm guessing we're right before he gets off work. He's not able to come. But anyway, Robert Bibbo is here. And so I wasn't sure if that was a shot at us or not. I thought we were going to fight. But either way. All right. Let me get to my 2 plays. And today it's all about the kicker. We're looking at Sunday. It's Kaimi Fairbairn, and he has over 7.5 kicking points at -130. Miami has allowed 2+ field goals in all but 2 games this year. And then Mr. Fairbairn has a 9-game streak of 2+ field goals. And so at this point, all we need is 2 extra touchdowns or a third field goal from Kaimi. And so I like this. Instead of going the 2+ field goals, which is at -165, I believe most places, I went with the -130 for the 8 points. Then we're going to go with Will Lutz over 1.5 field goals at -135. I know these are both a little juicy, but they're definitely worth it because Indianapolis is allowed 2+ field goals in all but 3 games this season. And so I expect Will Lutz to come in the clutch. But it's the kicker model. The kicker model is on fire right now. Isn't that right, Mark?
It sure is. It's amazing, and it's one of those markets that doesn't get a lot of spotlight. Nobody's jumping over each other trying to get the latest kicker up-to-date data on what teams are doing from a field goal standpoint. But when you got it and it hits, it's lucrative.
Yeah, it's been on fire. And I just hit on Moody last night. Nothing else happened, right? But somehow we still get field goals. And so Moody cashed for us last night. So I expect it to keep rolling. I have so many, kicker plays that I wanted to play. And so I broke it down to those 2. But looking at the model, and Mark, obviously, me and Mark do it together. It's more of my idea, kind of. And then Mark made it actually a smart idea is how the model works. And so Mark makes me feel and look smart. But the kicker model it's been on fire. I know the last few weeks. And it kind of goes up and downs. And so whenever it's hitting, man, you kind of just ride it. So I'm going to keep rolling with it. So Mark, after the kicker model, we like you. So let's go ahead and keep rolling with you. So what you got here on Sunday?
Fantastic. I am going with Buffalo and Detroit. I'm going to take Khalil Shakir over 54.5 receiving yards at -115. Look, I just think that not only has he cleared this in 3 of his last 5, where he's averaged 62 yards a game, when you look at his last 3 games on turf, playing in a dome, he's averaging over 90 yards in receptions. That, for me, is key. I think he has a big game. The Detroit defense, the secondary, is an absolute sieve when it comes to receiver yards. And I just love this spot for Shakir to go over in what I think is going to be just a run and shoot type game, and it's going to be the last team that scores, really. Sticking with that. I'm going to stay right there on Sunday, and I'm going to go to Seattle and a team that has to win to stay in their playoffs. I'm going to take Noah Fant over 2.5 receptions at -140. It's a little juicy. He's cleared this in 3 of his last 4. Green Bay is 27th against the tight end position as far as receptions are concerned. I love this spot for Font. I think with Metcalf getting all the attention in the secondary, and I don't know what Walker's status is, or even
Charbonnet.
I was going to say Chardonnay. But with them getting a lot of the attention and trying to keep the running backs in the backfield, close down the wide receivers, that opens up the middle for Font to work his magic. He's cleared the line in 3 of the last 5.
Yeah, I always thought it was Noah Fant. Is it Fant or Font?
Font.
Fant.
I don't know. Sounds
everywhere I've heard it's always been Fant.
It's always been Fant to me. I was just asking. I didn't know if I was the dummy. Maybe Mark's the dummy. We don't know. We'll find out after the show, or you can let us know.
You just called him smart. Just said he made you smarter. Now you're calling him
100%. No. On
how quickly
the data, he makes us smart. See, TJ's got me. He said I'm right on Fant. The data. So we need to help him, okay? Because just like Soupy, sometimes he needs a little help, but it's Fant. So see, TJ helps us out right there.
So you know who doesn't care about Fant? The pay window. It all cashes.
As soon as he makes his 3rd catch, I'm going to be like, call him whatever you want to call him.
Mm-hmm. Call him Daddy Fant's what I'm going to call him. Brian Tassoni. That's it right that time. Tonsoni. I said it right. Anyway, thank you. I am always right. But we have one more play because we held this off for a Monday, and the show is just getting off the rails at this point. So let's go ahead and finish the plays. What you got here, Robbie?
Yeah, going Aaron Jones, 59.5 rushing yards, -125. This is only at ESPN Bet. Everywhere else, it's already at 62.5. I don't hate that either. Chicago's a bottom tier defense. I see Minnesota kind of controlling that game. They're heavy favorites. So anytime they're favorites, I really want to target Jones. So you give me the 59.5. You're buying yourself 3 yards and some money too. I think the 62.5 is like minus 120 even on DraftKings. So this plays 59.5 at minus 125. So I like that.
Yeah, anytime you can find a good play, it's got a better number. The odds are very close to other places. It's definitely worth shopping around for sure. And if you're not doing that on a just a typical basis, then you're doing something wrong. I know everybody uses different, I would say apps. I don't know if they're websites, apps, however you want to. I know I use Pickit, Pikkit, I believe. But there's so many out there that if you want to use them, it'll help you kind of shop the books, especially if you're using multiple books. Like, if you're able to use, DraftKings, FanDuel, MGM, ESPN, whatever, you can shop them against each other and see what the best number is. So it's always good.
Prop.cash a lot. Usually Props.cash, you go down and check odds, and it's got most of them listed there as well.
For sure. Mark.
I was just going to say BetStamp is another one that will list not just domestic books, but also offshore books.
Okay.
For those people who are playing those, so you can really shop them. And it's amazing the lines you can get on some of the offshore stuff that really advantageous to the better.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, that's been all of our plays so far, and we're about 20 minutes into this. And so we don't want to go over the 30 for the most part. But it looks like they dropped down on DraftKings and FanDuel to 59.5. So maybe that's coming towards you a little bit. So make sure you get it if you can. But we want to make sure we give you our plays off the top. But we do have a new segment we'll get to the very last thing we do. But as we always do, we have a little weekend vibes. And so let's go ahead and start off with Robbie. Do you have any good vibes or bad vibes for this weekend?
Got great vibes this weekend, man. I'm going home, seeing family, doing some early Christmas. Going to watch that Army-Navy game. Then Sunday night, I'm going to watch Sunday, I'm going to watch Buffalo and Detroit, which I hope is the Super Bowl this year. You got two teams who have never won it, two exciting teams to watch. So I'm really excited to see that game, and I hope I get to see it again at the end of the year.
Yeah, that game should be tremendous. Just like Robert Bibbo, come over here, a little super sticker. I don't even know what a super sticker does, but I think it just sticks for a super long time. I have no idea. But Robert, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that's coming in here and hanging out. We thought this was a stupid. Okay, not we. Coach thought this was a spitting into the wind, as he calls it. But we now are on his network, on his show. And we're doing an actual show, and people are showing up. So thank you all. This has been it's been a lot of fun. It helps me continue to keep getting these reps in that I need as in the hosting chair, because this next year is going to be very busy. We'll see because of everything that's going on with Coach, but mainly with the whole thing as it keeps growing. I'm going to need some reps to be here, kind of hosting a little bit more than just being a talent on the screen. And so this helps me, but it also helps us kind of hang out because we don't ever get to hang out quite enough. And so this is it's a lot of fun. But we have another, the weekend coming up. Sometimes I get bad vibes, but I have good vibes. But Mark, what do you got this weekend?
I am looking for good vibes on two fronts. I'm going to start with the San Jose Sharks, who need all the good vibes that they can possibly get. They have just gone through and demolished their entire team, selling off, and I think they're positioning themselves for the long run. But they have become the Chicago White Sox of the NHL. They suck. And any chance you get to fade them, in fact, playing them on the puck line, is going to be advantageous. You're going to make money over the next, I would say the next 25, 30 days, especially as things start to sift out and you start to see where they're going to try to position themselves for trades. I just think that right now this is a team in turmoil. Fade them as much as possible. They need all the good vibes they can get. The second half of the good vibes is my fantasy football team. I started out as the commissioner of the Driving the Line fantasy football team, and my one goal this season was just don't come in last place. I find myself in the playoffs, but not to win money. I am fighting for my life in the toilet bowl. So my fantasy football team needs all the good vibes it can possibly get this weekend. And that's what I got.
Yeah, I'm playing Brian Tonsani. I saw it in the chat. Yeah. Good luck, Brian. I'm sure I'll have somebody get a concussion this weekend. So if you are playing fantasy, the DTLE, check my roster. Don't bet on any of those guys because or if you want to bet their unders because they're due to get hurt.
That's funny. Who is the best in the entire DTI? There's multiple. There's two different divisions, two different leagues, right? Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we had such great response that we had to break it up into two different divisions. I know 420 New York is on top of ours, and I believe John Eckel is one and
we
two.
got Japan. I know it has a bye. The other guy, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but Japan, I know it's got a bye. I'm in third or fourth. Either way, I'm playing this weekend in the actual playoffs. That's all I know.
I like it. I might have to join next year because this year I didn't. It's been a busy year for sure, but I didn't. But I am in first place in mine. We've been doing it for ages. Probably, I think it was 2006. I saw when we started, or 05 or something. When it wasn't as big of a deal as it is now. But we've been doing it for so long that I was the only one I did this year, and it was actually a lot of fun. Probably because I came in first place. So it was different than
home leagues are the best. Me and Preston have been in one for, I think this is the 14th year or something that we've been in it. So I love the home leagues way better than any of just the random ones. I take the home league way more seriously than any of them.
Yeah, I like it. Little good vibes right here. Robert's got a good vibe. I'm going to the Notre Dame Hoosiers game with my best friend, who's best friends with a Notre Dame sports writer. So his plans to bring a DTL sign with you. That would be awesome.
Nice.
That would be pretty funny. So especially just to catch it on TV somewhere would be pretty cool. But my good vibes are about the NBA. I know a lot of people have talked about the NBA Cup and it being up or down, whether or not they like it or not like it. I think it's been great. And I know that they didn't get the big market teams. I don't care about if you had to lower ticket prices to $26. Great. I hope you had to. I don't care about that part. I care that the fact is that people actually care, and these are good games. This is a downtime in sports for the most part because as you're kind of taking the lull, it's a dip before you get back going up where the college football. Then we go into the NFL playoffs. College basketball is not really doing much of anything right now. And the NBA is just kind of stagnant. I like that there's actually talks around the NBA. And so that's kind of where I am. There should be good games. We have the Bucks going against the Hawks. I don't think either team is really that good, but this should be a good game. And then we have the Thunder and the Rockets, so it should be a lot of fun. Robbie.
I can attest to that. I went to the Magic game, and I've never been to an NBA game, so it was my first one. But you could tell people cared a little more because it actually meant something that night. So I agree with you. I don't hate the NBA Mid Cup thing. I don't think you should celebrate, like you just won the NBA championship if your team wins. But it is at least something to play for.
Right, no doubt. And that's the thing is it gives them something to do besides just play a random basketball game. So it's always going to get itself figured, just like the playoffs. It wasn't perfect for college football this year, but it was better than last year, I promise. And then prior than the year of that. So it all get fixed and tinkered with. But eventually it will be a lot of fun, and I already enjoy it. So those are my good vibes this weekend. But we have a brand new segment that we're bringing out, and it's very similar to the gym, but we have something we call the Slapshot Saloon. So this is going to be very simple. We're going to pick a game, whatever the game of the week is, for Friday night. So this will be for crew members. So if you're not a part of the crew, you're not going to catch this on a Friday. So if you're seeing this on Saturday, you can see how we did. But sorry, you're going to have to go ahead and sign up to be a part of the crew to actually get to see this. And we're going to pick the first goal scorer of the game. There's only one game tonight. So, Robbie, I think you named this. So I have to give you the honors here since nobody's hit one yet. But Robbie, if you'll go ahead and give us who you think scores the first goal tonight.
Yeah, I'm going top shelf and taking Andrei Svechnikov of the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 1,200. This is a dart throw. I mean, it's not really, there's not a lot that goes into this. I did do some research, and let me tell you, there is a guy at plus 3,000 if you just want to put some change on it, if I can find him. Adam Gaudette, or Godot, Gaudette, one of those Canadian names. He has 4 of Ottawa's first goal scored in the last 10 games. So he was plus 3,000. So if you just got some couch cushion change, throw it on Adam Godot. You'll see it plus 3,000. But I'm going with Svechnikov because he's the one that's going to do it.
And then we have a question. TJ's asked, is there a rule here also for odds? There is. You have to be plus 1,000 or higher. But what we're seeing, and this is my first time. I'm not the hockey guy. I'm a professional capper for hockey, but this is my first time looking at the first goal scorers. But everybody was plus 1,200 or higher, I believe. So I don't know if that's normal or not, but that should
normally
work in our favor.
Plus 700, plus 800 might be the lowest, but I got Leon Draisaitl last night. He was plus 1,000. They took it away, but you can get guys like that at plus 1,000. So
I like it.
It's kind of different than NFL. You don't get the minus odds or like the plus 100s for a first goal scorer.
Yeah, and since there's only one game tonight, we didn't think there was a reason. I just made this graphic to actually put the team names on there. But going forward, we'll try to figure out how to put the team names on there to make sure everybody knows what game we're actually playing. But tonight, since there's only one, it didn't matter. But Mark, if you'll go ahead and go.
I am going with Brady Tkachuk for the Ottawa Senators. He scored a goal on 3 shots on Wednesday's win over the Ducks. While both of the points that he had in that game came on the power play, he's been held off the score sheet in his last 2 games, which is his first multi-game drought all season. I see him lighting the place up. I love this spot for Tkachuk.
You sure it's not Tkachuk?
I'm positive.
Sorry. And anytime I can get a shot at Soupy, I'm taking it for sure. All right, I'm going to go with this guy, and I have such a good explanation. Seth Jarvis, for the simple fact that, one, I knew there was no other way to have to say this was Seth Jarvis. That's it. He had good odds. I didn't want to screw it up the first time. I did look, and he does score a lot in the first period when he does score. So he's an early game scorer. So he's probably going to score tonight. And so I had to make sure I went with the Carolina Hurricanes because Carolina seems to be the better team in this matchup. And so I went with a Hurricane fella. And so to make sure that I didn't miss out on my opportunity to have somebody who's probably going to score first. So did I do okay?
You did. You pronounced the name correctly.
That's good.
Which is just a weak move, by the way. If that's your analysis, is I got to pick a name I can say. All right.
Hey, what am I supposed to do?
I've seen people win NCAA March Madness brackets because they picked the favorite mascot. So Seth Jarvis, good luck.
And I don't even know what TJ's talking about. The youngest player on Canada for the 4 Nation Cup.
Must be Seth Jarvis.
Look at that. I'm so smart. I went with a young fella. He's going to be fresh, ready to go when he starts the game. That's why he scores so early in the period. And so I even know that they're called periods and not quarters. So look at me. I'm smart. So anyway, I know Seth Jarvis is probably going to hit tonight, and I'm never going to hit another one. But as you all know, that's what I do. I just get the gems. I don't know what we're going to put up. Any suggestions on the
hockey stick?
No, that's boring. I need something else.
Shot glasses?
I think it's going to be the beer symbol or a shot glass of some sort. We're going to do something that's weekend related for sure.
Emoji with a cowboy hat. Put that on there.
That might be a good one. We'll have to find out what the new emojis are. My wife sent me an emoji this morning that looked like me, and I don't know why. And I didn't know why it looked like me so good. And supposedly there's new stuff out there with the new update for Apple that you can get that. I don't know. It worried me because it looked just like me. So anyway. All right, that's enough of this show. It's been fun. I hope everybody enjoys the Slapshot Saloon. It's going to be a lot of fun as we go throughout every Friday playing this. We want to do something that was hockey related because there's a lot of people that come here for the hockey content. Plus, football's about to be over, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming to an end, so we didn't want to just kind of lay up on just kind of tying our wagon. Tying our wagon to the old football. So I thought this would be a good time, and it's a great name. So let's go ahead and finish it off and give our final thoughts. Robbie, you go first.
Man, I'm just excited for the weekend. Like I said, we're leaving tonight, going back to my hometown. It's only an hour and a half drive, but we always do it a couple weeks early because Christmas Day can always be so rushed. So we're going to go spend time with some family, eat way too much, and like I said, watch some Army, Navy, and some Buffalo, Detroit.
I like it. Mark.
Yeah, hey, Robbie just hit on it. I am so excited for this Buffalo-Detroit game. It's not because I live in New York State, but simply because I can't wait to see these two teams who've been the premier teams as of late in the NFL go at it in a regular season game. And maybe it's a little prelude into what the postseason may hold for us. I mean, I just love the idea that these two teams could play each other twice in the same year. Once being for the Super Bowl, obviously.
Yeah, should be a fun weekend all around for sports. There's not just tons and tons happening, right? But I do think that the NFL season kind of coming to kind of a close. We have about a month left of the season. It's going to get really good. These games mean a lot. They're separating themselves a little bit. Plus, we have the NBA Cup, the Army Navy game that's going to be good, in my opinion, this year finally. So it should be a good time. But boys, y'all been great. But for Mark, for Robbie, and myself, it's been a fun time. It's been a fun show, as it always is on Friday. Thank you, everybody, for kind of hanging out with us and being a part of the crew. It allows us to hang out together as well. So y'all all coming and allowing us to be together and give you our best plays. And so we've had some kind of, as Coach says, ho-hum kind of weeks, but I'm expecting this week we're going to have our first breakout week where we kind of go off. And we're going to go something crazy like 9-3. I can see it already. I'm going to predict the future. But thank you all again for hanging out with us and allowing us to have some fun with you and give you our 12 pack of plays. But for Mark, for Robbie, and myself, thank you all. And we'll see you as we party at the pay window.